Welcome to a new episode of Real Business Roundtable. Kudos to Cam for updating our soundboard. We have some really fun sounds. Let's do a quick little sample.
Shit. Rich millionaire, hey! Bomb rich!
Is that like the sad noise?
Like if something like you lost.
What? Yeah!
That one we gotta change up. We gotta change.
I just want it to be like, what?
Yeah. It's okay. We can work on it.
I like that one.
Wait, what happens if you like click it like?
I love that one. Oh shit! When you say a word wrong. Now today we're going to talk about how to get ahead of your overhead. When you're running a small business, medium business, or any type of business, you have your cost of goods sold. What it costs you to deliver that service. What does it cost you to pay those employees to do the service? Whatever it is, you have your overhead. Your overhead is something that can increase and it can decrease. What I wanted to talk about today was some of the strategies, mainly tactics on how to adjust your overhead properly.
And now, at the end of the day, as long as you are able to adjust and to decrease the overhead, the profitability and the margins on these products and services just go up, which leaves you with more money to grow, which adds more overhead, but it's kind of a revolving door at the end of the day.
Yeah, so whether it's someone on your payroll, employee or contractor or whatever, or you're building a building or whatever, you need to control and identify how much time that thing is going to take to build. When you have someone who creates something, builds something, constructs something, manufactures something, you need to get a flat identifier of what that's going to cost you to deliver. Because if you pay hourly on the construct of a product, that person is incentivized to drag their butt cheeks for ages and ages and ages and ages and costing you a fortune. I'm going to share a little story. As you know, we're in the digital ad space and sometimes we create websites for happy customers that want to look better on the internets. Hired a person, and on my day-to-day, I am out and about. I'm on the road. I'm not in the office a lot because I'm out hunting and talking and negotiating and helping. And there was a project that was in the middle of construction. And I noticed it kept going and going and going and going and going and going. And it hit me. I said, how long has XYZ been on this project? Oh, it's been a while. What is he doing? Well, when all's said and done, that website cost me in labor over $28,000. I want $28,000 in like gold shiny text just popping up right here. The client. Now that's my overhead, right? 28,000 cocks. $28,000 motherfucking dollars. That is just the tip of my expenses for that project. So I'm giving you a real life example of the learning that you will learn during the entrepreneurial journey. I'll admit I fucked up. I fucked up by not paying attention to this one project. I trusted the team member to just get the shit done, but that didn't happen.
At the end of the day, if it's buying a new, if it's adopting a new software, buying getting into a strategy or a process that costs money, building a workforce, hiring an employee, whatever it is, that money left, that money going out in order to bring this new process, software, whatever it is, employee in, is considered overhead. The goal with hiring or adopting or whatever it is you're doing with whatever I mentioned is to make sure that there's a return on that investment. Now, overhead can be an investment, but as long as you're making more money than it does to spend, than it costs for whatever that is, you're in a good spot. Now, that's the goal at the end of the day. For any of these processes, for any of these things, then this project may open up new doors. It may, it may do many other things that bring in more money. As long as you're making sure that does exactly that, that's where you want to be. You want to get rid of that overhead, and then once it's in and it's working and all that stuff, you want to just try to bring that cost down, bring the profitability up.
Absolutely. Now, to get back to my story, that was a lesson learned. That was a lesson learned. Not everything is going to be a cakewalk in business. We had so many different projects. We don't just have one client. Sometimes we have 15 projects at once. And this one slipped my mind and my eyes, but I saw certain things that made me wonder, is he working on, or whoever, are they working on the project? But what happened was this person, the professional, was incentivized to drag their ass. And I was told by a client, hey, if things like this where you're creating a thing, don't pay hourly. Don't pay hourly because they're incentivized to move. Do you understand?
Shit.
So what I did is I made some adjustments. I said, okay, you want to dilly-dally over here? You want to play tiddlywinks? Okay, but the construct is going to be flat, set rates. Bum, bum, bum. So this can be applied to any industry unless you have high-performing folks that will get things done in a timely manner, which most of the time that happens. Every once in a while, we'll run into a situation where, and this goes for any industry, if you see that production is slow, too slow, that it's impacting, it's creating a bottleneck for you to bring in more sales, you gotta separate that piece and set it to structured flat rates. And I know I don't want to get too complex and I don't want to confuse people here. Just when you have your overhead in your business, whatever it is, whatever you have to spend every month to deliver that product or deliver that service, identify things that may be hindering your profitability. Here's another thing. When you're making cuts on costs, stop cutting critical things. Critical. What's critical? Your rent, your location, your insurance, your payroll, and here's the thing, if you are to make cuts on payroll, you better make damn sure that you actually need or don't need that person, or if they're holding their own weight. I see people make hasty decisions in their business to save a couple bucks. One of the biggest irresponsible moves I see people making is not taking their digital landscape, their presence, serious enough to consider it to be critical. I'm telling you right now, if you have a business and someone looks you up and you're using your fucking Facebook page as a website, you are getting, you saved a couple bucks, you could buy a couple lollipops after school. You are fucking scaring people away. They don't want to work with you because you look like a backyard operation. Packaging, remember packaging, like Mr. Jordan Belfort refers to. Wrap your package, cue Jordan Belfort.
Wrapping your package.
You got to not neglect critical things. Don't cut critical things. Remember, your digital landscape is critical. You should never cut that back. Ad spend, yeah, you can reduce that. That's no problem. You don't have to spend $1 gazillion, but you gotta have the basics.
Those things bring in sales.
Yeah.
Those things bring in sales. So it's like, why would you cut back on something that's bringing you money that makes you wouldn't have to cut things back, you know?
Look at it in your business. Look at your digital like it's your water bill or your electric bill. You're not going to cut that, are you? Or maybe. But you have to treat that as critical. Insurance, liability, you have to have those things.
Absolutely.
If you're raw dogging it with no insurance, you are insane. Anyways, so when you're cutting costs, look at stupid things. For example, if your team signed up for some app or software, you just quickly ask the team members, hey, are you using this? They may say, no, I haven't touched it in 6 months. Then at that point, that is identified as something you want to cut. It's stupid. Or if you have, God forbid, an employee that's not holding their weight. They're not really delivering. They're just floating. Maybe sitting in their cube or in their pajamas at home, not doing shit. Then you get them, you find out, wait, what are they doing? Has anybody heard from XYZ? Or, do some investigative work. Maybe be like Columbo and figure out within your business who's not delivering, who's not holding their weight. When it comes to controlling overhead, which is what this episode is about, there are several areas you can cut. One thing I recommend, aside from employees, because I'm not a big fan of, I don't like the layoff shit. That should come last, and it should be an absolute emergency. And my opinion is just get off your fucking ass and sell some more so you don't have to fire people. That's just my 2 cents. But if for repeat costs, look at softwares, look at apps, look at maybe you have too much insurance. You should at least have the basics covered, like liability, errors and omissions, also referred to as E&O. So if you fuck up, you can cover yourself. Liability, professional liability, stuff like that. You don't have to have crazy insurance because you might be spending too much on insurance that the chances of that happening are very, very small. Like if we're going to get invaded by aliens, that's not really likely to happen. So you might have coverage for that.
Unless you're like in like Nevada or something.
Yeah. But when you are trying to increase your profitability, you need to control your overhead and you need to stay ahead of it. Because if your projects are becoming more and more expensive without your knowledge, you will run into what I ran into. And you don't want to do that as a small business owner. Pay attention to your costs, but at the same time, don't cut critical things to save a buck.
And now at the end of the day, if you don't know how to do this, hire a professional, an accountant, a CFO. They can help you cut out those things, but make sure you know what's bringing in business and what isn't. It's all about profit.
We like this new soundboard.
Rich millionaire.
Yeah.
Profit.
Rich millionaire.
That's dope. I like that.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to get notified every single time you post a new episode. Peace out.